there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. As always, I'm excited about this topic tonight because I know it's going to resonate with so many individuals. You can be talented at what you do and still not know how to package what you know. That's the topic today. It's something that I talk with people about every single week for the last, I don't know how many years, 10 years, 15, 20 years. I'm going to break down tonight why so many people get this confused. I'm Mia Redrick, business and life consultant, and I got started in my company over 20 years ago, and I simply made a decision, just like you, to go to work as myself. I wanted to figure out how to package my background, my hard skills as a corporate trainer, and my systems. I want to share this with others. In motherhood with other women as well. And so I launched my very first business over 20 years ago as a mom coach, built a huge mom coaching business and consulted moms in a number of corporate deals with large Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 brands. Ended up growing my business at that time from no customers to hundreds of customers. And then I've gone on to be able to serve thousands of women and helping them to do the very thing we're going to talk about tonight, how to use your talent to not only just talk about the results you can create for others. I know you're smart. I know you're talented. But the question is, do you know how to package what you know? And often what I see is from smart, sharp, talented, exceptional individuals is they do not know how to do that. I'm going to break that down for you over the next couple of minutes. It'll be a short live, but my only goal is to shake your shoulders a little bit. I want to make sure you guys can see me. Shake your shoulders a little bit. And we're going to talk about the differences between being talented at what you do versus knowing how to package what you do. Now, I think this live specifically would be a great one to take out some paper, take out a pad, take out a note card. You know, I love to use my note cards, right? I'm the note card queen. And so you might want to write these down. And I'm going to break these down with the intention that you can, after hearing this live, be able to think about your approach in growing your consulting, your coaching business. Are you doing this the right way, or are you making this harder than it needs to be? I can tell you, as a result of coaching thousands of women around this topic, that most people get it wrong first. All right. So let's just talk about what's the difference between being talented at what you do versus knowing how to package what you do. The first thing I think that's important to understand is just two things can be true at the same time, right? You can be talented and also not know how to package what you do, right? Talent is you know how to create results. And most people are easy at being able to identify whether or not they have an ability to create results for others. You probably know this from what you see in the workplace. You probably know this from the feedback that you get from others. So you know you have an ability to create results for the demographic that you serve, right? Packaging actually is you know how to turn the results into something that someone will actually buy. So do I need to say that again? So talent is that you know how to create results, but packaging is that you know how to turn that result into something that someone wants to buy. And the deal is that so many people don't understand this. And what it looks like is the reason why so many fees are low, over giving, over delivering, undervaluing what you do, beta testing what you do, not certain, charging by the hour. See, that happens when you don't understand how to turn the results of your talent into a service that someone wants to buy. Are we clear? Is this making sense? The second thing I want you to think about here is talent is when people are constantly asking you for advice. That's talent, okay? But packaging is that you actually have a defined offer instead of giving away your intellect via conversations or somebody wanting to pick your brain. See, when you are packaged, you actually have a structure, a container for your advice. Does that make sense? Listen, if I were to allow it, permit it, I would have people asking me every day, "Can you help me do corporate deals? Can you help me get a government contract? Can you help me, build my coaching business? Can you help me with my marketing? Can you help me with my leads?" But I have a container for my advice, and that container, and I have a wall, right? I have a boundary around the level of access that people just freely get to access what I know. I've worked really hard at what I do to know what I know, to have the predictability around the results. And so I work with people who want to invest in that knowledge and not just the free seekers. And I say this because what I hear often on the other side when I'm helping someone to build their coaching business is a lot of people come to me and they're always asking me things. But the moment that you create sort of your own think, your own group, your own circle, your own mentorship, you're trying to understand like why no one is buying it, even though there have been tons of people who have called you to ask you, what do you think? I know I'm stepping on your toes. Today, what we're talking about is being talented at what you do versus knowing how to package what you do. And I promise you there is a difference. We're going to break this down. And my only goal is to get you to really see, maybe you haven't looked at it this way, but to get you really to understand the difference. Talent is you have years of education, credentials, and experience. That's talent without question. And all the women that I work with, they're smart, they're sharp, they're credentialed, they're degreed, they're proven, they have 10 years or 20 years of experience doing what they do. They're the master of what they do. But packaging actually your talent is when you know which parts of that expertise has the greatest market value. So look, you could have the talent, but not everything that we do well is what we lead within what we offer. Does that make sense? And what I see often is so much confusion around what should I bring to the market. So I'll tell you what it could look like, and you might be doing this right now. It's sort of like sometimes someone will come to me and they'll say, "Mia, I already have a consulting business. I already have a coaching business." And they're so confused about it because they'll show me what they have, and then they'll have like 10 offers, 6 offers, 5 offers. None of these things are really selling. And what they're doing is they've got a big old basket and they're hoping that somebody just clicks a link and buys from them. I know if you've done this, I had to call you out, okay? But here's the deal. That can change. But it's understanding that, yes, you have years of experience, credentials, and experience, but packaging is knowing which part of that expertise has the greatest market value. What do people want from you right now based on the problems that you know how to solve? That makes sense, right? The fourth thing is to understand here is that talent means that you can solve a lot of different problems. So likely a lot of high level problems. You know how to solve it. But packaging is really understanding that you know which problems you're going to sell and to whom. Like I can solve a lot of problems for people, okay? But not all the problems are exactly the same. Does it make sense? So I know the problems that I solve that are the bigger problems that people have when they want to go from taking their intellect, their background, their skills, and their talent, and they're trying to put it in a structure that's high value. They want to sell high ticket coaching, which for me means $2,500 or more. On average, my clients sell things for 10 grand or more. And they've got a problem about how to do it, how to package it, how to package themselves, all the background, their years of experience, etc., how to price and fully value what should they be charging, how to position themselves as the obvious choice. They need to know how to like shift their brain from the work brain and what you do in that title to being the CEO of your company and building an identity around what it is you know how to do really well. And then often they also need help with how to sell and close in this way. Does that make sense? So those are the problems that I help people solve. You have to think about yourself and what are the highest level problems that you ultimately help your demographic solve. Want to make sure, see if there are any questions. And if this is resonating, share, tag a friend. My only goal today was to just share with you what was on my heart, because it's something I see all the time. Talent is, you know, your work is valuable. You know that you're the, you know, the ish. You know that what, you know, when you walk in a room at work, people really value what it is that you bring to the table. But packaging that talent really is when you can articulate, I just want to think about how to say it, the transformation clearly enough that someone else understands your value. So it's one thing like if you know the value of what you bring to the table. It's another thing if you know how to position that value and I understand like you're the person I need. Does that make sense? And most people that I see that I work with and I help them understand this is they're doing that part all the way wrong. And they think that just because they're talented and they know that what they do has value, that the client that they're looking to market to, the prospect, understands it. And most often they do not. Does that make sense? You know, I've been in business for 20 years. And what I can tell you about coaching and consulting, overall, those of us who have been really good, right, at creating results for others, we typically have been doing pretty much the same thing the whole time, because you get known for how you deliver value, what makes you valuable. Does that make sense? The clients, the prospects, the people who are observing you in your marketing, it's not just you're saying I do these things. There's evidence that you do it. I have found over the years that people who tend not to be as good at what they claim to do for others have no real proof of it. They don't have proof, old proof. They don't have continued proof. They don't have new proof. Does it make sense? In fact, they might change their entire title, the entire audience, like over and over again. And they do it because they're not really creating sustainable results. When you create results over and over again, you know what the value is you create. You can stand behind that value. And then there's evidence of it. There's really no reason to change it. Are we clear? Okay. The number, I think I'm on number 5, right? Number 5, the talent piece of this is that you know how long something takes you to do, right? So when you're talented at something, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, right? You know how long it takes you to do it. Now, if I think about something that I'm talented at, one of the things I'm good at is making bread, bagels specifically. I know how long it takes to make the dough. Okay, it's going to take me about 90 minutes. Okay, and then I know that I'm going to let that dough rest for 10 minutes. And then I know then I'm going to boil those bagels, right, for 1 minute per side. And then I know they're going to bake at 350 for 20 and 25 minutes. So when you're talented at something, you know how long it takes you to do it. All right. But packaging is that you stop pricing based on your time and you start understanding the value of the result. And that is different. Does it make sense? So if I were just thinking about teaching somebody how to make bagels, then I could say, well, that's 90 minutes. And then by the time we finish, you roll out the dough. Well, you don't really roll it out, but you cut up your dough, you put your little hole in there, you toss them in the water, in batches of 3 or 4. And it's going to be 1 minute per side. And then it's going to go in the oven for 20, 25 minutes. So then I then say, okay, the whole thing is 2.5 hours. And if I were charging you, teaching you how to make bagels, and I say it was 2.5 hours, I have totally missed the point, and you would totally miss the point here. And unfortunately, so many smart, sharp experts are selling time. But imagine that you don't know anything about making bagels. And as a result of my recipe, my formula, right? That it tastes good, the texture's right, and there's a predictability in what we do over and over again. You don't have to make it in bad batch. That's what coaching and mentorship and consulting is, right? Because you know how long it takes to do something. You have expertise around it. And ultimately, the person is paying you for that result to get things done quicker, faster, sooner. Does it make sense? And I find that if you don't understand that, then you end up attracting people who want you to sell time because they're selling time. But people pay me because of my results and the transformation I can create with them. And ultimately, I always tell my clients, like, you can't actually pay me for what I can do for you. Like, let's say someone invested, 15,000 or $25,000 or more in working with me. And as a result of us working together, they were able to close six figures. Well, they paid me 25,000. Are they going to just make six figures one time? No, over and over and over again. And that's why it's important to know how to stand in your value, right? Talent is also, I think, number 6 is you should be charging more. You have an offer, but it's like you're trading time for dollars, right? You're undervaluing what you got going on. See, packaging is when you have an offer that's structured in a way that it can command 5,000, 10,000, $20,000 or more. It's a difference. And a lot of times people don't know how to package properly by pricing the value of the results that they create. And that's the difference. I hope that you are getting value. This is so good, right? I just wanted to expand your brain, to get you to think, see the difference between talent and packaging. And the week I've had, great week. I've talked to so many people who, you know, either were in business or thought about doing business, but the level of their thinking is exactly this, not knowing the difference between the two. So I hope that this has provided some value for you. Got a couple others. Number 7, talent, in my opinion, is that you have a lot of information you can teach. You're like the information teacher, right? People come to you because you teach things, you share things, okay? But packaging is when you actually know what belongs in the solution and what doesn't. So, I have a lot of things I could teach people, but not everything belongs in my solution. And when you understand what should you be packaging, what should you be offering to your ideal clients, that's the difference between having the talent, having the ability to teach on a topic. When I think about the number of people, oh my goodness, it's something I see all the time that are doing these workshops. They call like a full day of working with somebody, like a free training for $97 or $25, and they do it. And there are reasons to do it at different levels. But what I have found for most people who are just getting started and that don't have a list and they haven't established themselves yet, when you start with that free 99, that $25 strategy and 97, you're never going to build a high value list. If I decided to do something for $97, I already have the proof, I already have the experience, I already have the track record. I'm going to attract a quality group of people. And those people can take a journey to buy things for $5, $10, $15,000 or more. But you got to ask yourself, like, what do you want to be known for? Like the person that does all of these amazing free informational sessions, but you're never properly compensated for what it is that you do. So I hope that you understand that. Talent is you can help almost anybody, right? That's number 8. I think we're on 8, right? You can help anybody. Okay. But packaging is the difference to me is that you know exactly who is most likely to value, need, and pay you for your expertise. Hear me on this. Okay. Packaging, you know who values what you've got here, right? Your knowledge, your background, your expertise. They need what you have, and they will pay you. And it really has to be that the client that's going to pay you must value, okay? They've got to need what you have in order for them to pay you. And I promise you, if they value it, but they don't need it, they're not going to pay you. If they need it, but they don't value it in their life as a solution, they're not going to pay you. Are we clear? Okay. And so you have to have all of those things, as I've seen over the years, in order for your ideal client to say yes to work with you. Talent, also, number 9, is people tell you you should coach or you should consult or you should teach this. Packaging is you know whether the most profitable model is coaching, consulting, training, licensing, corporate work, a course, or some combination. So, see, to me, when you know how to package what you do, you know what the offer should be. Does that make sense? And most people don't know this. This is why working with a mentor, working with a coach, working with someone that can show you exactly what the options are, what makes sense based on what you bring to the table and what your real solutions are. And this is also why coaching yourself does not work. I talk to people all the time who leave money on the table. And honestly, some people have such a mindset around this that they are just smart people, right? Right. Smart people are used to figuring things out. And it's a great thing. But sometimes the way it gets in the way is that you have so many answers about the thing you don't know how to do that you make running a business a research project. And therefore, it's just not profitable. Does that make sense? To me, the difference between being talented, meaning people say, you should coach, you should write a book, you should blah, blah, blah. Packaging is knowing, like, whether the most profitable model for you is coaching, is consulting, is training, is licensing, is it corporate work, or is it something else, right? Talent, number 10, I would say, I'm going to wrap this up. Talent is you can get results once somebody hires you. That's talent. And I think you shouldn't offer service if you don't have the ability to do that, quite frankly. But packaging is that your marketing communicates the value so well that it gets the right people to raise their hand. That means that there are people, and this happens to me every day. I'm not saying it in some braggy way, but there are people who just reach out on many different platforms, or somebody might have referred me, or could be a host of things. And it's that my marketing communicates the value so well that the right people come in. Right people to me mean they're ready. There's a readiness to a right person. They are investment ready. And yes, we're going to start with the investment. That means they understand that I want to know how to hit 6 figures or more in my business. And I understand that I have to make an investment with you in order for me to do that. Correct? Now, I would like to talk to you for 10 minutes to teach me how to do something I'm not willing to invest in. That's wrong customer. Does that make sense? So your marketing has to communicate the value well enough that it attracts the right people who have standards, they value, remember, and they need, and they will pay you for what you do. And I'm going to say quickly. What does that mean? Listen, I work with women who are investment minded and they pay quickly. And I have found that the slower a person invests, the less likely they will invest. Okay. And you can take that, you can have it. Okay. All right. Number 11, the 11th thing that I'm going to share with you tonight about, what's the difference between talent and packaging? And the 11th thing is you can have a great conversation with a potential client. That's talent. Talent, you could meet somebody, talk to them. I hear it all the time. I met this person. They love what I do. And we had a great meeting of the minds. That's it. Packaging, okay, lean in on this one. This is going to hurt somebody's feelings. Is you have a sales process and you know how to move from a conversation to a paid engagement. Did you hear that? Did that just fly over your head? Okay, it means that I hear people all the time. They live in a land of disappointment. They had the best conversation with someone that liked what they said. But guess what? They didn't buy because they didn't know how, they didn't have a sales process. And packaging is, you got to have a sales process. If you don't have a sales process, you don't have a business. Your business, I always say this to clients at times when they don't sell. It's like, you if you hire somebody and they sold like you, would you keep them in your company? Would you fire them? Okay. So sales process, I think this is one of the greatest reasons to work with a mentor or coach, is to know how to set one up for your company. So many people are practicing with great leads, great prospects on the customers. And they do it because they are penny wise, but they're dollar foolish. Okay. So here's the thing: your inability to package your talent does not mean your talent is not valuable, right? But it does mean you haven't learned how to commercialize it yet. Okay. It means you'll not sell it. Okay. It means that's a blind spot. Okay. And that's a completely different skill set, in my opinion. I spent more than 20 years helping women connect these things: packaging, pricing, positioning, and finding buyers. And what I just shared with you today, using sort of talent and packaging, I hope that it resonates. So when you understand what you're really good at and what someone will actually pay you for, that is a game changer. That's called a business. And unfortunately, a lot of people are in business as a coach or consultant. They're calling themselves coaches and consultants. They have shingles and things, I'm saying, they have their shingle, they're a coach or consultant. But in reality, they're not able to monetize what it is that they're doing. Hey, David, I'm just seeing you here. Thank you. I appreciate you. I just want to break this down. I think that what I've done is just be honest between the difference between talent and packaging. And there is a difference. And a lot of times we don't think of it this way because everybody is using AI to come up with the exact same course and having AI say yes to everything that you say you want to do and call it, right, success. But it just doesn't work that way. If you're just joining me for this live, this is a good one and you don't want to miss this. I'm going to wrap up right now. Are there any questions or comments that you have for me? And if this is no longer live, when you view this, if you're watching the replay, you can always tag me. There is a link for you to book a call if you would like support. I'll post it here in the chat. If you would like support on how do you get started packaging what you know today, then click on the link and we'll ask you a couple questions and get you on the calendar and get you on the way to separate your talent into a package, because it makes all the difference. I've had a great time here tonight, and I hope that my ahas, my takeaways really did support you today. My only goal when I do these lives is if I can connect with one person and make a difference in how you show up for yourself. I want you to know that one of the things that changed my life was packaging what I knew and building a business around my life. And I can tell you for sure that there's nothing like it. And not from some hypey way or anything. There's nothing like it, but when it's done right. And I'd love to support you in being able to see a little further. All right. It was great talking with you tonight. I hope you have a great and amazing rest of your day. Good night.
I have been working with Mia Redrick for a couple of months now. I come to this experience with a lot of education. She was speaking my language from day one. What has changed for me is with all of the education, with all of the training and workshops and private coaching and things that I've had, what I didn't have was a real understanding on how I could package these things, price them, and promote them so that I could monetize what it is that I do and what it is that I wanted to do. And now with Mia, I have an understanding of how to take my tangible and intangible gifts, talents, and skills and put those things in a package that allows me to serve other people and benefit from it.
I was stuck. I never thought of my knowledge as something that I could create it as a proprietary system. What is the value of that? For me, it is priceless. And I'm so happy I made the investment because I can now see how my business can be transformed and how I can be transformed as a result of this work. So I cannot thank Mia enough.
Before I met Mia, I was selling my product for a very low price, and I did not just believe in what I was worth. So I had to change my mindset. I had to change the way I thought. I had to start believing in abundance and expecting it. And so these are the things that I had to learn as Mia mentored us. Now I'm happy to say I'm selling my product for what it's worth.
Before working with Mia, I couldn't sell a $297 product. After working with Mia for about 10 months, I was pitching a $10,000 product to a company.